Escape of the Bride, Decode 13, The Arrival of the Wedding Guests. Let's cross the threshold. Welcome to the great wedding banquet. Let's do this. Here we are, family. We're looking at the constellation of Sagittarius. We're on Stellarium Web. And we are looking at today. This is 1644. That is 444 Pacific Standard Time. Asteroid Metis enters the tabernacle in Sagittarius. So, why is this one so important? Well, if you've been following me for a while, you know that this is one of the most important asteroids that I've been tracking for a very long time with, I'm sure you already know how long we've been tracking these two asteroids, Metis and Vesta. So when I was originally doing my decodes of these asteroids and comets, Metis equals wedding, and Vesta is obviously divergence because of the historical um, mythology associated with all of these names. And we're not participating in any kind of pagan religion because we're using these names. What we've done is we've decoded these names that have been chosen. They're obviously there, and we are doing our job to decode them numerically. And this is where we use the gematria to decode the actual name of each of these asteroids, comets, and I'm even looking at doing the planetary or the wandering star work. So we have, this is a 9 Metis, and the reason it's 9 is this is the ninth object. I believe Metis is actually considered one of the minor planets. I could be wrong. I'm going to have to look into that, but I believe it's one of the minor planets. It's really big. Um, and this is a very, very important piece of the marriage puzzle because Metis equals wedding. It also equals corona. And so when we get this alignment here with Metis and Sagittarius, this is, if you look at the heavens, we're going to just go forward a little bit in time, and then we're going to be able to see this in a more up and down. So if we look here, we're looking at Metis on meridian. This is 12:25, just after midnight tomorrow morning. Um, this is on meridian. Now it enters today at 4:44 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the wedding Metis entering into the tabernacle, and this is considered the Father's house. And we have Corona Australis, and this is the Southern Crown. And so we have the wedding and the crown. And this is happening again this evening. But then we're on Meridian at just after midnight. We see Metis on Meridian in the tabernacle. So let's quickly go. I have so many of these families, so forgive me. There is a lot here to break down. Some of these we're not even going to be able to get to quickly. What I'm doing with number 13 is I'm going to show you the signs from the 24th through the 31st because what I found it's just so much that it'll be a 2 hour video. So I'm going to try to keep this at an hour, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to show the first week of January, and then we'll break that down by 7 or 8 days as we get through January. And I have to do this because it's just absolutely so much that's all stacked up now. Um, it seems as though right now things are just beginning and then it compounds daily. So I want to be able to get all of this in without the video being too long. So asteroid Metis, not just Metis itself, but asteroid Metis in Gematria equals Christ, the Lamb of God, the Good Shepherd, Spirit of Enoch, Message from the King, Song of Solomon, which is it's a it's a book about love and marriage and the relationship of these two that are totally in love, and it's a message from the king. The Lotus, Morpheus, Great Global Reset, United States. Four horsemen, beasts from the sea. I am opening the seals, Kay. I'm pilot of the plane. 127. The stage is set. Eyes of the Lord, the biblical Messiah, Midnight Riders Ride, and Star of Bethlehem. Now, this is a mistake here. On the left-hand side, it says enters the tabernacle Ophiuchus. I have two of these up, and I chose the wrong one and forgot to take this out. But it should be enters the tabernacle Sagittarius. So just so anybody who sees this, it's not Ophiuchus. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one out because it uh, is corrupted with the information. So now we see that the wedding sign is now entering into the tabernacle. So in our Maseroth story, which is really the bridegroom story, because the son is as a bridegroom and he is moving along this red ecliptic line, and every single hour is I mean every minute, every second, there are different signs happening within the heavens. We now can see all the planets, all of the asteroids, all the comets, every single rock, or every single heavenly body that is out there is part of this grand story. There's no way these things are happening the way they're happening by random chance, and anybody that believes that is um, they're in first grade. And unfortunately, we have to just tell it how it is. If you cannot see these incredible the perfection of the math of all of this, because this is all numerical perfection. Everything is happening just as we were told it would happen. We just have to be able to look up. So, what we're going to do really quick, now that we see Metis, the wedding, here in Sagittarius, aligning with the crown, the Corona Australis. We have all of the wedding guests that are coming into the tabernacle soon. We see that Mars and Comet Weir shows are inside of the tabernacle already. So we have a comet right here presenting the wedding. And we have Mars, which is one of the warrior angels. And we'll be discussing that after we go into this quick explanation of why we even do this work. And then we also see the sun, the bridegroom, is in the arc section or the bow of Sagittarius, and we see Venus about to enter into a very, very important spot in the heavens. But the one of the Messier um, let's just go ahead and click in here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Lagoon Nebula. It's the hourglass region, which has to do with time. And we see the sun has passed this region. This is also a gate region because it's between two nebulas, and the sun passes directly between these nebulas. And if you do some deep dives into the Lagoon Nebula um, with the Mazzaroth, it takes a lot of time to do this kind of research, but it edifies everything because your understanding of how these heavenly ordinances work. Everything that we see in the heavens is happening for a very specific reason. So we see Venus is just about to enter into this nebula, and we have Metis that has just crossed the temple line. It's now inside of the temple with Mars. And again, Metis is wedding. So the asteroid Metis codes are separate from Metis itself equaling wedding. And that's the original code that I worked on and that really drove me to watch the patterns of that asteroid because I wanted to see if there was an alignment prophetically, because I believe all of this stuff in the heavens is prophecy. This is the Bible and the stars. This is where we should be looking for the coming of the king, for all of those signs. Um, this is just uh, the Wiseman Redux. We're right back where we were during the birth of Christ. We're seeing very, very similar signs, but the signs are for the escape of the bride. Now we're looking at the son having been born, and this is the story of the wise men. And now we're at a point where the son is about to take a bride, and we're literally witnessing the story of that of that coming wedding transpiring right before our eyes. But this is a lost art, and the majority of the people in the church have no understanding of this at all. We've been lied to for thousands of years about how this stuff works, and that has kept this information hidden. So in this channel, our purpose is to uncover the hidden truths about the Mazzaroth. So what we're looking at here is at this time on today, later on this afternoon, and then tomorrow morning, right after midnight, we are looking at Metis in the tabernacle and Venus about to enter into the hourglass. So these are very, very important bridal signs. We know that this is a dual representation with Venus and the sun, because Venus as a morning star represents Christ, or um, the Messiah, and the sun represents the bridegroom. So we can see that this equates to that Christ is the bridegroom, and we're looking literally at um, this December the 25th being the day that Christ, the bridegroom arise. So if you don't understand where the ancient story of what they call the Christmas story, if you don't understand that, then you will completely misunderstand what you'll call it paganism without understanding that the pagans were the rip-offs. The religious people ripped off the original Mazzaroth that is thousands of years older than any written language. Again, family, the Mazzaroth is thousands, not hundreds, thousands of years older than any written language on earth. So it goes back to creation. This is about the ordinance of the heavens. They were laid out long before mankind started doing any of that. So what we're presenting is the ancient story uncorrupted, and we're presenting it live before your eyes with the modern tools that we have. This allows us to show this grand story in the heavens. And that's what our purpose is here. So we're going to take a quick step back, and we're going to look at some very important evidence of why we do what we do here on this channel. We're looking at Job 38. I believe this is the King James Version, Job 38, and we're at verse 31. And let's go ahead and highlight this. And we're going to be looking at these three verses. Um, and oh, I didn't know I had to do that. So here we're looking at Job 38:31. Can thou bind the sweet influence of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Can thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or can thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? can thou set the dominion thereof in the earth. So this is very important language in Job. And what we're going to do is we're going to be looking now at Luke 21:25. Let's go ahead and we're going to be looking at these three verses. And this is Luke 21:25 through 27. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. So, this is why we are doing the work that we're doing, because there is an important way of looking at these heavenly ordinances. And we're going to come back at the end of the video. We're going to dig into this book of Jubilees. And this is how we use the understanding in the book of Enoch to complete the heavenly ordinances. And it's very important to understand this book. And I believe it's one of the reasons why it was kept from the people. Only the Ethiopian church had it in their canon until we found it in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was also found in a couple other places besides the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's important to understand. It's not just from the Dead Sea Scrolls. They've now found Jubilees in multiple locations. So some very important scripture we're going to get back to at the very end of the video, unless we go too long, and then we'll bring it forth in the next video. But what we're looking at here is the wedding essentially lining up. Now, many of the Christian watchmen that are out there, they were hyping um, uh, Jewish Hanukkah as our time of what they call the rapture. And I have a completely different view than the majority of the traditional churches because of my historical studies and ancient studies into religion and my deep, deep, deep studies into the religions of the Levant, including the Hebrews, the ancient Sumerians, the Akkadians. I've studied Zoroastrianism. I've studied all of what they would call the religions or the spiritual manuscripts that have to do with the Levant area, including uh, Lower Egypt. And the information that I have because of that research gives me a completely different perspective than any of your pastors or the majority of the researchers that are out there from a biblical perspective, because they never went into looking at all those things. Um, our typical modern pastor or teacher, all they do is look for things that prove their own beliefs, and they don't look at anything else except for the things that they believe prove their beliefs. And so, what that gives you is uh, a sheltered understanding, and you're not capable of seeing some other things that may be in play. And so I believe I have um, the ability to see things that others can't see. And I think that's what led me to this work is my understanding of the Bible when I was a very young kid. I think was radically different than what I was seeing with the church. My relationship from the time I was 9, when I accepted Christ, was incredibly experiential. Um, I understand the difference between religion and relationship because mine's been all from day one. It's been powerful relationship. Um, and I'm no different than anybody else. I struggle as a human with all the from A to Z on the list. Well, I'm only capable of doing these things because it's been gifted to me. It's not because I'm a good person or because I'm better than anybody else. This is an incredible gift. And my whole life, I can see now being led to do this kind of work. So I pray that this information will bless everybody that sees it, and I ask for everyone that's in this channel or that comes to this information to throw out your old beliefs and your old patterns, and before you jump on the judgment bandwagon, to just hear all this information and then take it before the Spirit and do your due diligence to prove this information out, because the Maseroth is all through Scripture. I believe the entirety of the Bible can be shown in the history in the stars. I don't think there's one single story in the Bible that I can't show you in the stars, because that's how this whole thing works. And that's why the Bible was written in the first place, is they were trying to codify what the heavens were speaking. And that's what the Bible is a code. It's a code, and people are uh, they struggle because they're in kindergarten or first grade on a spiritual level, because churches have kept them, in that infantile state where you constantly drinking milk. You've never even chewed on a piece of meat, and you don't recognize the meat because you've been drinking the milk the whole time. And that's what fundamental Christianity or traditional Christianity has given us, is the church is for the babies, and once you get to a certain point with your going through the stages of learning, then you realize, uh-oh, I better get out of this and take this to the next level. And if you don't get to that point, then you miss the meat of the scripture, the depth of what's actually being said on a spiritual level. You get stuck in the physical, like you're a stone temple pilot. You're looking for the actual stones as the temple, and you're not realizing that you're actually the stone, that you're what the temple, you are the temple. and there is no more stones needed. We are the living temple of the Spirit, and that's incredibly difficult for the religious mind. And so, what we're asking is for you to throw out your condemnations and your misunderstandings and hear what I have to present, because this is the heavenly ordinances, not the ordinance of man, not the calendars of man. We are looking into what the heavens are speaking. And day by day and minute by minute, the stars are screaming at us to look up, and this wonder gives you the ability to watch what the Father is presenting to us. So we've seen Metis now. We're going to go. What I have is I have so much, I have to sort of weed through this. We're going to take a step back for a minute to we're going to be looking here first. We're looking at Amphitrite, and we're looking at Amphitrite here in the altar. So this is the marriage altar location. This space between these stars that they show us in the artwork as scales. But if you've been following me for a while, you know that we're not looking at this for the scales of judgment, because we're not even at that point yet. We're looking at the bride, the bridal signs, and that has nothing to do with judgment, because we are taking out of the judgment, the bride. So we're not talking about the rapture, we're talking about the escape of the bride, the book of Luke. So now what we're going to do is we're going to watch Amphitrite, and this is part of a very important, I want you to notice the dates here. This is December the 19th through the very end of the year. This is, let's get in close because I want you to see how close this is to the midnight hour. It's on the 31st. Just here we go, fam. This is Amphitrite on the 31st, just over an hour before midnight. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go look for Amphitrite. Again, fam, I've got so many of these in the mix, and some of them are pulled up for the next video. So forgive me as we go through these because I've got so many of them. Here we go. So this is Amphitrite. This is from before I began adding the asteroid, and I kept this as strictly Amphitrite because it speaks directly to me, and the equations were very powerful to me from the very beginning. So this is Amphitrite. The next alignment is December the 31st as it exits the altar of Libra, and Amphitrite equals Mary Magdalene, High Priest, the Essenes, Redemption, Tribe of Judah, Face of the Lion, Gabriel, the archangel, the black swan, Milky Way, a reset plan, the red dragon, Star Wars, planet Mars. Now remember, planet Mars is now inside of the tabernacle. Zodiac's a clue. Hebrew calendar, Star of David, golden petals, and the Fibonacci series. And we won't go into all of that. I just want to bring forth the codes. It gets incredibly deep once you really start understanding how all these codes play and why I choose the codes that I choose. It's very important to dig into these codes on your own and understand what these words are and what their deeper meanings are. So we're looking at Amphitrite being in Libra constellation through our watch time for this video, Decode 13, and it ends right at New Year's. And I believe this is going to become very, very important as we go through this video that we watch how there is a culmination happening, a convergence that I believe begins to happen right before this, like on the 29th and 30th. Some things begin to happen, and that you'll see as we go along, there is so much language, and it begins to be overwhelming with what the messages are coming from the heavens, and it's just beautiful. So we're looking at the 19th through the 31st, and we have asteroid Amphitrite in the marriage altar. Okay, so now we're going to, forgive me, fam, it's going to take me just a minute to go through all of these signs. Um, okay, we're going to take a step back because there's another very important part of this storyline, and I want you to be able to see this storyline happening and playing out because Dembowska is a very, very important piece of the puzzle, and we're going to be getting into that. But here we see on the 14th of December, this is when the Jewish Hanukkah, because this is here right at the midnight hour. Um, this is day one of Jewish Hanukkah. You see Dembowska entering into the tabernacle, and um, this is a very, very important sign. And I want you to watch Dembowska move through the tabernacle. I want you to look across the Golden Gate because on this same day, the sun exits the marriage hoopah. This is very, very important alignment. That's why we're taking a step back. On the 14th of December, we began a journey because the sun's coming out of the hoopah, and we have Mars inside of the gate. And we see Dembowska also in the gate, but it's entering into the tabernacle. And it's taking a southern line that allows it to go into a very special location within the tabernacle. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to watch Dembowska transition through the tabernacle. It's very important that we get this understanding down. So before we do any of the transition, we're gonna go back and hunt down Dembowska. Forgive me, fam, for the time it takes to do each of these, but it just takes, there we go. It takes time to go through these. So once you see these codes, you'll understand why it's so important. So this is Dembowska. We're looking at the next alignment, which is December the 31st. And we're seeing that on December the 31st, asteroid Dembowska enters the inner sanctuary. And we're going to show that in a second, but asteroid Dembowska equals bride of Jesus Christ. White horse rider. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. As in the days of Noah, great American eclipse, the silver and gold threads. Wormwood star. You are the key holder, the Holy Spirit gone with the wind. I am free from all debts. Jesus the Christ, Yeshua of Nazareth, the Lord of hosts, Lion's Gate portal, resurrections. Behold, a pale white horse and Melchizedek Bible wheel. Next alignment, December the 31st. So let's take a look at that. We're going to get this out of here. We're going to watch Dembowska transition. And I want you to see this alignment right here on the 19th. What we see right here on the 19th is Dembowska ushering the moon into the ark. If you've been with this channel for a while, then you know that this part of Sagittarius has like 5 different signs within this constellation. One of them is the bow of Sagittarius, and you can look at this bow as an arc. And if you look at it from this, let's just go and bring it back right there. Okay, so if you look at it right here, and you look at the bow as if it's a arc or a boat, and the bottom of the boat is where the arrow is, and the top of the boat or the deck of the boat extends out from Cos Borealis, where most of the planets, the sun, transition across that line that comes out of the tabernacle or the temple there. You can see the pyramid above what looks like a tent, and then the line that comes out of Cos Borealis. This would be the deck of the ark. So we see this time period. We see Dembowska basically stands right there as the bride goes into the ark. And then we see the bride enter into the inner sanctuary. And this is very important because the moon doesn't always transition this far south. And when it does, it enters into this inner sanctuary. And you can see here that it's inside of this temple or tabernacle, and we can see the transition. Let's go ahead and pull back slightly, and we can just watch this transition. So we see on the 19th, it begins to enter, and then it transitions into the inner sanctuary of the tabernacle. And then we see here as it begins to exit the tabernacle, we can see that it's exiting right here on the 21st. It's exiting the inner temple, and then it enters into the location that's beneath the wing of Sagittarius, which is where Vesta is sitting. So it's very important to go back and let's watch Dembowska. And then we're going to quickly pass it. Sorry, fam. This is important to me, and I want to make sure that. Oh, we've already cut that one. We've already done the Dembowska. Okay, so sorry. So we have asteroid Dembowska, and we're going to watch it transition here. So the next alignment is here at the inner sanctuary on the 31st. So this is a very important alignment, and it's going to come into play in Decode 14 as we move into the signs for January. So I want everybody to understand what this again. Dembowska is the bride of Jesus Christ. And 1231, entering into the inner sanctuary. Now remember, we're not talking about temples made with hands. We're talking about heavenly temples. And that we are actually like the stars. We are a heavenly temple. And so we're seeing at the very end of this year on the Gregorian calendar, we're looking at Dembowska or the Bride of Christ entering into the inner sanctuary. So it's important that I bring each of these things forward so that we can see the overall story that's being broken down for us. Okay, so now we're going to be going slightly back. I want to bring all these things forward so we can see there's another sign here that's associated with um, Amphitrite and her alignment. Now we're looking at Irene. This is 14 Irene, and we're looking at asteroid Irene aligning with the marriage altar right as the moon is about to enter the altar. So what we want to do is we're going to go to the codes quickly. Okay, so this is asteroid Irene, and this is the next alignment, which will happen on December the 27th. It's going to align again with the altar of Libra. This is when it's doing its exit of the altar. Asteroid Irene equals I am Mary Magdalene. God, he named I bride the heir. Yeshua HaMashiach, Christ wins. Arise from the dead. Phoenix rise, time to rise. This way up, gold and silver moon, matrix, silver moon, 7 stars, planet alignment, seventh sign, arms wide open. It will be biblical, the Lord's plan, spirit of agape. Israel is America. Light of God, fire of God. December the 27th, our next alignment with Irene. So we're going to watch as Irene is pointing us to the marriage altar, and she exits on the 28th, and then she's in the scales before she enters into the Scorpio. She might actually only have to pass through a couple days. Let's look at this transition. And there we see Irene. And let's go forward a couple days. I think it's one more day. And there she is. So Irene is now, this is very important also because what we're looking at is Irene entering into the Scorpion on the very first day of Nazaroth Hanukkah. And that could be a big part of the storyline. I'll be getting back into that in January. And we see the moon in transition at the altar. So it's very, very important sign. Again, we'll be getting back to that um, when Irene enters into that location, and that will probably be Escape of the Bride Decode 15. Because we're going to have, there's so much here that I just have to do this step by step. Okay, so we've got, that was Irene. And then we're going to be looking, just give me 1 second. Okay, now we have Apophis. So I've got a lot to show you, fam. And we have to just go through this to see these transitions. Um, and we're going to go back to the 18th on this. So I showed how Apophis enters into the tabernacle on the 10th. And then here is our next alignment on the 18th. We see Apophis now at the wing. And then on the 20th, we see the alignment again with the wing of Sagittarius. And this is literally right over Vesta. And if you've been following me for a while and you remember the video series that I was doing on Apophis and these, if you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch my breakdown of this. I have it in my It's in one of my video series. You can find it. This will help you to understand what's actually happening here because this is Apophis and the Sun in Sagittarius, and this is actually as close as we can get to what is being talked about in the Egyptian mythology with Apophis attacking the sun, because one of their most important signs, and I believe where they got the solar bark was from this Sagittarius constellation. Um, on the 26th of December, um, in our time, the sun directly aligns with this what we call the solar bark, the boat of Sagittarius. And you can see the boat as the arc, or you can even turn it sideways, and there's a three-masted boat um, sideways. So there's actually two ways of looking at it as a boat. And when the sun enters into Sagittarius on December 18th in our time, then the sun is literally in the boat. And so we're looking at here on the 20th. Now we have Apophis making its third strike on the boat. So we had the 10th, and then on the 18th, and now on the 20th, we have the third strike of Apophis. So let's go look at the Apophis codes. And I know this takes a while because I've got so many going on here. It's just ridiculous. I didn't even pull them all up because there's I don't pull Apophis up. Um, I didn't pull up Apophis, possibly because there is so much and it was a little bit back in time. So let's do this really quick. I hate to have to do this, fam, but I think this is important for us to see. I'm going to go pull this up really quick and download it so I can show you this. These are just all the codes that I have for each. Here we go. Sorry to have to spend the time doing this, but I believe it's going to be important for us to be able to see these codes quickly. So we have asteroid Apophis, and after these alignments that I just showed you, the very next alignment is where Apophis actually strikes the temple of the sun, which is Capricorn, the large temple in Capricorn. So we saw that there was a three-part attack on the solar bark in the Sagittarius constellation, and now on January 3rd, which, if you're not familiar with what that date is, fam, that is the first supermoon of the year, January 3rd, supermoon in Gemini. And we're going to be showing you that in the next Escape of the Bride. We're going to be talking about how important this January 3rd uh, full wolf moon is. So here's asteroid Apophis. You are bride of Christ. I, God, come to take bride home. Rapture ark. Okay, so now you know why I pulled this up, because it's very important coded language. God's family, Christ the Redeemer, morning stars, a storm is coming, plasma apocalypse, atomic holocaust, workers of doom, mark of Antichrist, spirit of Nimrod, brain chip Neuralink, the Anunnaki angels, the Dracos, shall be defeated. See, CERN opened a portal, okay? Asteroid Vesnina, the seven stars, and be the lighthouse. Again, next alignment, January the 3rd. So forgive me for having to pull that up. It's very important for us to see. I'm just going to go ahead and march forward, and you can see this next alignment here, which is right at the very end of the day on the 3rd. So we're seeing right here, right before the midnight hour, is Apophis entering into the temple of the sun. This is the temple of sacrifice in the Capricorn constellation. So, thanks for sticking with me through that. I wanted to make sure we brought those codes forward because Apophis is very important in this whole story. And then we're going to go to Apollonia. Let's look at. We're going to be looking at the Apollonia, and we're taking it back a little, but I just want to show you this transition through the altar. I had all these on my list for doing it a week ago, but these are very important to understand what we're being shown in the heavens, because it's not just one or two signs. It's like a convergence of so many signs all pointing to the same thing. So we see Apollonia, and we're looking at the end of November on the 25th, and then Apollonia. If you go back and you watch, Mercury literally retrogrades right in front of Apollonia in the altar, and then we see Apollonia on the 20th exiting the altar, and then she enters into the scorpion. I believe it's on the 15th here. There's Irene. Yeah, there she is. So here we're looking at January the 15th. She's going to enter into the Scorpio constellation. And our last alignment was on the 20th. So she's in the scales. And then she enters here. It's actually one day right before here. She enters into the Scorpio constellation. So I'm not sure if I left this up. Some of them I pulled down because it was past. But once I looked at these codes, I decided I wanted to bring them forth. And if it's not up, I'm going to just go ahead and post it in. It's not. Yeah, it's one of the ones that I pulled out because it was. I had so many in here, they were stacked up, and I just could not deal with how many there were. I'm trying to erase them as we go here because there's so many that I have to get to, and I don't want to get overwhelmed. So we already looked at Irene. Um, there's a lot here, fam. So this is not going to be short. Okay, so that was Apollonia. Um, next, I'm just going down my chart to make sure I've got these dates because again, there's just so much. Okay, we got Nebraska. We got Irene. Okay, so let's go to Maine Franken. Another very important sign. And let's make sure we got this right. 1222. So this was our last alignment on the 22nd with Maine Franken. And this is another alignment here with the wing of Sagittarius. And you can see it's directly over Vesta. And this is very important. Let's just go ahead and bring this on Meridian. Let's see where we're at with Meridian. So 1122 on Meridian here. This is Main Franken aligning with the another alignment with the wing of Sagittarius, pointing out that Vesta is under the wing of protection. And this is the virgins being protected for the marriage. So we're looking at Maine Franken now. Um, let's pull that up and see if I left that in. But it's another one that may have been pulled out, and if it is, I will just post it in the community so you can see the codes. Yeah, it's another one that was passed, and I just had to pull them out. But we can see that this is another sign of the virgins being protected, and then it enters into the temple of the sun on February the 14th, which is another, obviously, you know what that is. So we won't even have to go there. But we can see that this is another alignment. Again, I will post these codes. Actually, I think I already did. So that's already been posted. So you can go look up those codes. Um, and I don't want to take the time to go back because it's there. And if you're not using my community, you can't get that on, from what I understand, you can't get that from your phone. You have to go to your computer and pull up uh, my channel and then go to the posts, the community posts that we do. And it gets so small of amount of views compared to the videos, but it's a location where I post a lot of my studies. and almost daily I'm posting codes there, and um, now I've begun to use my phone and the Stellarium from the phone so that I can do quicker posts and not have to do videos. I can just quickly take a snapshot of the things that I want to present to the body. So here we see Main Franken. If you look in the Temple of Resurrection, which is the smaller um, triangle, we see Vesta and Mars aligned there in the Temple of Resurrection. So this is a very, very important sign coming up in February, and the reason I believe that um, we more than likely, excuse me, fam, more than likely we're not going to be here at that time. And the reason is that this sign looks to me like a war sign. The virgins and the warrior planet are aligned right here. And I believe that this is a possible sign of tribulation. And if my calculations are correct, we should be gone before that. Now, there's a very low possibility that we have to get to February the 17th, which is the wedding ring eclipse. And it's also the first day of the Chinese New Year, which is the fire horse year. And if you do your research, that's heavily uh, prophetic of Michael, the archangel. And to me, it's a sign of Michael riding, and that's a tribulation sign. And to me, it points to after we leave. But there is a possibility that we're still here until that eight candlestick on the celestial menorah. And if you haven't seen that, I've posted it in the community. I've also posted it in shorts. Um, it's very important to understand that celestial menorah. And if you haven't seen that, sorry, fam, I had to take a second to see if this video was still going because I lost my ticker there. It looks like we're still going, so hopefully, I'm gonna have to. I'm going to give me one sec. I'm gonna. Yeah, see, I don't see my ticker anymore. Oh, here we go. It's still going. Okay, so forgive me for that. I had to do a quick test to see if we're still recording. Okay, so now we're going to go to the last couple that I want to present. Um, okay, groom. So our next one is groom. And again, fam, I'm not trying. I can't even be on a time schedule. We have to just work through this because these things have to get presented to us correctly. So here we see this is vital to be able to understand what we're seeing here. This is absolutely part of a grand story. because we are seeing asteroid Groom align with the altar on December the 29th. And let's go ahead and watch Groom transition through the altar. And then we see Groom exit on the 9th. So we're looking at another asteroid pointing us to the marriage altar. So let's go to the codes and see if there's some deeper language here. Um, a lot of these we're just not going to be able to get to. There's just so much, but this is a very important sign. This is asteroid Groom, December the 29th, aligning with the marriage altar Libra. Asteroid Groom equals time to wake up. Portal opens. Meet me in the chambers. Church of Philadelphia. I come to take bride home. Bethany, wheat harvested. The golden age begins. Battle Los Angeles. Rider of red horse. Four-head serpent. Angel of the abyss. Biological weapon. Satan and hell are defeated, okay? God's coming back to bride. God's rescue plan. I am King of all kingdoms. The books are open. Okay, fam, they're incredibly strong codes, and we are seeing Groom at the altar until the 9th, and then it's in the scales, and here is uh, the final day of Maseroth Hanukkah, and we see Groom in the scales of Libra. Okay, so we've got Groom. Let's go to Parola. And again, fam, all of these things are pointing us to. Okay, let me see. I've got to make sure I do this right. Okay, so here we see Parola, and we've got to get in a little further, and we're going to pull this up. Sometimes it's really hard to see the line. So we're right on it, basically. Gotta go just slightly back. Okay, there we go. We're going to call it 2230. This is Parola aligning with the tabernacle. And this is happening on the very last day of the year. Another one of these alignments that's happening on the 31st. So let's take a deep look at the codes. And wouldn't you know it? Asteroid Parola, December the 31st, enters the tabernacle of Sagittarius. Asteroid Parola equals the bride of Christ. Great solar flash. Red tsunami, year of the dragon. Forehead has been sealed. Markets plunge. Skullduggery. January 1st. Last Christmas, Age of Ultron, Crown Virus, Vile Judgments, Dracosaurian. Huge asteroid. The prime number rapture soon. Oil to trim lamp. And if you don't know, uh, Corolla is SARS-CoV-2 Corolla variant. So this is very, very important, tied to this crown virus and these vile judgments. So I wanted to make sure that we point that out. This alignment happening in the tabernacle at the very end of the year. And you can't make these things up. It's literally screaming at us with all of these alignments. So now we're going to go to Gloria. And we just have to take a step back a couple days. And we're looking at the transition of Gloria. Sorry, it's a lot doing this. Hopefully everybody can appreciate how much time it takes to be able to do this kind of work. So we're going to call it good right there. We don't have to be exactly on. So here we're seeing Venus having just transitioned into the tabernacle finally, and we see asteroid Gloria now. So Gloria is entering into the tabernacle. Let's go. We're going to be looking for Gloria. We got Gloom already. There we go. Okay, so here's asteroid Gloria, December the 29th, aligning with the tabernacle Sagittarius. Asteroid Gloria equals glorious. Come on, fam. You can't make this up. The promised land. We're coming home. See you soon. The magnified door. Aliens are fallen angels. Stars of heaven. Battle of Armageddon. Christ's blood. Alpha and Omega, King of Kings. April Fool's Day. Save the children. The Aquarius age. Michael the Archangel. Year of the Snake. King of the Nephilim, 11th hour, lock all demons in hell, God. Jesus died for me, the golden ratio. It doesn't get any more real than that. We are seeing the glorious Gloria aligning with the tabernacle, which is the Father's house in heaven. And we see all the other wedding guests that are entering. This is like the entrance of the gate into the house of the Father. And this is Gloria and Venus and the bridegroom and Mars and Comet Weir shows and all the other ones that we've shown all coming into the house at the same time. This is highly prophetic heavenly language of the wedding because this is the Father's house. And in order to have the wedding banquet, you've all got to get into the Father's house. Okay, so now we're looking at, we got Groom, Parola. Sorry, fam, I've got to go through. My whole list is just so deep. Okay, so we talked about Venus entering the tabernacle, and that happens the day before. Venus enters on the 28th. And then we're going to show this very important sign here. This is incredibly, incredibly important. Uh, we we all need to make sure we understand how important this is right here. Um, that's about it right there. We're just going to go ahead and peg it right at 9. And we see here, this is the sun directly aligned with the solar bark and with the tabernacle. So this is the bridegroom in the solar bark or the solar boat, perfectly aligned. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at another very important sign. This is December the 26th, on the exact same day that the sun makes its alignment with the tabernacle. We have Comet 3I Atlas aligning with the King Star Regulus. Now, for some reason, the only way for me to pull this up is when I'm using my phone. So I'm not going to be able to show you that, but I did post it in the um, I believe I've already posted it. If not, I have it saved, and I'll do that. I'll drop that today. But if I believe I've already posted it in the community section, and I can even drop this in the shorts for those of you who want to take a look at these codes. But this is happening on the exact same day, the December the 26th, when the sun enters into the tabernacle. You have Comet 3I Atlas aligning with the King Star Regulus. So let's look at these codes. Comet 3I Atlas equals financial reset. Israelites, I'm coming soon. Behold a pale horse. D-Day, hell on earth. The Matrix, Great Reset. January, unfinished. The Storm, March Madness, hell on earth. This is a double hell on earth. It is pushed together and separated. Reset America. Financial crash. This is a double sign, financial reset and financial crash. The awakening, defeating Satan, song of the Lamb, encoder, decoder, the anointing, and the remnant. So this is the codes for 3I Atlas, and that is making an alignment with the King Star Regulus in the Leo constellation on the same day the bridegroom enters the tabernacle. Very important heavenly signs happening right before our eyes. And we really need to be able to understand how important these things really are, because it's a culmination of all these things happening in a very short period of time. We're only talking like 9 days here, and all these things are coming into fruition right at the time when we really need to see these signs in the heavens to continue to push those of us who are waiting to stick to our guns and to keep focused and not get down and discouraged because of all of the dates that have come and gone. The watchmen are doing their job and they're screaming out at whatever they see. And even if they're not right, they're doing their job. They're pointing out what they're led to. And that just keeps us getting closer and closer and closer to the prize. So don't give up your crowns. Keep focused on the prize. And that is coming soon. And we're just going to be presenting the heavenly signs that are leading us to that day. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be looking at the 30th. And this is a very, very important sign. Again, Mercury is the messenger. And we're looking at the 28th. Mercury exits the marriage hoopah, which is where the marriage takes place. This is part 2 in a 3-part marriage ceremony. We're not talking about modern marriage, we're talking about ancient Hebrew Israelite marriage customs. So now we see Mercury exit. Now on the 3rd, Mercury enters the ark. And then on the 5th, Mercury enters directly into the tabernacle. And now the final piece of the puzzle, or the final main guests, are now in the Father's house come January the 5th. So I wanted to make sure that we saw that, even though I'm only supposed to be showing signs until the 31st. I wanted to show this transition of Mercury from the exit here of the hoopah and transition across the Golden Gate. And you can even see that Mercury is in this spot we talked about, the hourglass region, and that is coming on the 2nd of January. And so we'll be talking about that in more detail, but I wanted to point out that we're in transition of the last guest entering into the Father's house. So let's actually see when that happens, because I think it's on the 31st. Okay, it's on the 30th. So we have Mercury here in transition on the 30th. And that's our final day. Again, this is on the Mazzaroth count. 1230 is 911. December the 30th is the 9th month, the 11th day on the Mazzaroth count. And that's the Exodus Mazzaroth count. So we see this is a very important day, and it's the final main guest entering into the Father's house, which is the Sagittarius constellation. Okay, it just keeps getting better. We're stacking them now. So now we're going to Israel. And this is asteroid Israel. And we're going to be watching a alignment here. Right. Look at this. This is just incredible. Again, family, you just cannot make this kind of stuff up. Look at this alignment at 22:33 Pacific Standard Time. We're looking at asteroid Israel aligning with Pollux the groom, and Jupiter the king is right there. in the arm of Paula. This is a great bridegroom sign. Jupiter, the king, and Israel. So let's go look at the codes. Um, Here we are, asteroid Israel, December the 31st. It aligns with the bridegroom Pollux in Gemini. Asteroid Israel equals Philadelphia Union. Thessalonians, a dark night rises. I open in the book of life. Okay? Lord's inheritance. The alien arrival, Jesus' arrival, Christ to come back, heaven is revealed, the Lord's eyes, the narrow gate, our Redeemer, Jesus in recoded, break the matrix, suddenly taken, garment of light, SARS-CoV-2, Antichristos, see Anunnaki bloodline, Lion estates. Okay, fam, we cannot make this kind of stuff up. I can't put this asteroid in this location on this day with everything else that we're seeing. This again is another 1231 alignment, family. The 365th day of the Gregorian year. We're seeing all of these alignments, and it's really powerful language in the heavens. And again, we saw Amphitrite on the very last day of the year. Amphitrite exits the altar. And now we see asteroid Israel aligning with the bridegroom. We see multiple signs in the heavens that are all pointing us to this last period. Corolla on the 31st. You have entirely too many signs that are all pointing us to this time period. So now it's got me, we're going to take a look at some of these other signs that are associated. I'm not going to be looking at anything that's not associated with the signs that we're looking at. So what we're going to look at here is some comet codes. Unfortunately, because I'm still using Stellarium Web, I just can't get these things to come up. Some of them just pop right up and it works out for me, but the majority of them just remain hidden and I can't even do the search for them. I don't know if that's because I'm being attacked or if that is because um, on the Stellarium web version it just doesn't doesn't have a lot of the same mechanism of the downloaded version, and something happened to this computer, and I've tried multiple times to download um, Stellarium onto the computer, and it won't work. I'm having problems with my recording software. It just doesn't work right. I can only do so much. And I'm going to have to take some funds once I get there and take my computer into a professional and see if there's some kind of bug or something going on with my computer or files that I messed up somehow. Um, but there's definitely something going on that's hindering my progression with all of this stuff. So I'm going to show you the codes. And then what I'll probably do if I have the time is I will drop the phone version of these alignments into the community section. So on December the 29th, we have Comet Machos aligning with the shield, Scutum. And this is right over the wing of Sagittarius. Let's go ahead and look at that really quick. We'll come back to these codes. I just want to show you. This is the Shield constellation. And if you notice, it's directly in the Golden Gate, right on the edge. And it's right over the wing and over the tabernacle. And it is a sign of protection. And we have Comet Machos aligning on the 29th. So Comet Machos equals seed of Satan punished, sign in the sky. I am Mary Magdalene, moon matrix, true bride of the Lord. 7 stars, the book of Enoch, the great beast and harlot. Phoenix rise, broadcast end of time message. Apocalypse death, ends curse be on earth, curse be on earth, ends. Yeshua HaMashiach, 101. New beginnings, AE resurrected. The seal of the eye. Fam, you can't make any of this stuff up. This is another comet right here. We have Weir shows and we have the Machos comets. And remember, there's like 5 Machos comets. And so I did some posting in the community section. I believe I already posted the 2 Machos alignments with Scutum. So take a look at those. Um, let's go look at the final comet codes. Now we have Weir shows, and that one I can show. So let's go do that quickly. We have this comet Weir shows, and it's aligning with the tabernacle. This is also it's multiple keys right here. Number 1, this is an alignment with the solar bark, with the sun in the solar bark. It's also an alignment with the tabernacle because these 3 posts that go out are like an extension of the tabernacle. It's also an alignment with the arm. It's just above the arm and just below the wing in the section that looks like it could be a control arm, as if Comet Weir shows is pointing out an area of Sagittarius where the arm is pulled back for the bow to strike the enemy Scorpius. And this could be a sign of the war coming in heaven with Michael the Archangel. And this is on 12/29. And then a couple days later, we see this alignment again with the main body of the white horse rider. So here we're looking at Comet Weir shows aligning with the white horse rider. And this is now the day before the full moon. And we're looking at a very important sign that is pointing us to the white horse rider and the war in heaven. Okay, so now we're going to get to our last couple comment codes. Again, another December 31st alignment. This is Comet Catalina aligning with the horn of Taurus. This is like a trumpet blast. This is like a shofar. Clock is ticking. Killed beast in image. Bring me to life, white rabbit. Market crash. It's go time. The chosen ones, chosen by God, God the Father, the wise man. Welcome home. Field of dreams. Israelites, a lamb is sacrificed. Shiloh comes. Allah is Satan. Allah, moon, God. Sixth seal. December the 31st. Comet Catalina at the horn. Okay, last couple ones, and then we're going to finish up. This is December the 30th. This is Comet C2025 K1 Atlas. And this is a very special alignment. I haven't gotten to the star codes yet. This is the alignment with Mu Andromeda in the Andromeda constellation. This is vital piece of the Mazzaroth story. This is the chained woman. I believe the chains are broken by this comet Atlas. Look at its meaning, Dragon Ball. The book, Radiance, the One, Arisen, All Rise, Yahweh Chiron. To me, that equals Yahweh Saturn, Black Death, Freebird, Armageddon, Angel of Grace, Hanukkah, Dedication, Angel Man, Jofar, Philadelphia, Essien, and Vesta. Okay, fam. I've been doing these codes for a long time, and everything that is coming out in the codes with where we're seeing all these things in heaven is screaming for us to pay attention to the heavens. If you are following this channel and you are unable to see these as um, great signs in the heavens, then I'm really sorry. We're going to get to a lot of these. I'm going to show this one quickly because this is really an important part of this entire story. Let's quickly go before we get into the codes. Okay, what we're looking at here is the constellation of Perseus. And this constellation is said to be the great warrior in heaven. He is the protector of Andromeda, and he's riding on the back of the bull. And he is shown to us in a two-part image, which is Perseus and Auriga. He's the warrior, and he's also the shepherd. And if you look right above his head, the transition of the chained woman to the free woman, Cassiopeia, seated next to the king, Cepheus. And this is all part of this grand story in the heavens. And for us to be able to see, um, sorry, fam, I gotta pull this up really quick. I think I just lost it. Um, I'm gonna probably have to go back because I think I pulled it. Let's see. No, that one we already looked at. So I'm trying to get these out of here for the ones that I've already worked on because I'm coming back and then I'm going to show all these other signs. Yeah, I already sent it on its way. That's just another one we're going to have to get back to. But we have an alignment with Perseus and another comet, and I seem to have lost it, and I don't want to have to go back. We're already really really deep into the time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. And I want to thank everyone for coming and praying and all the wonderful um, stuff that's been posted in the community section. I have such great subs. You all are just so wonderful. You keep me going. And I just want everybody to get excited because even though the Jewish Hanukkah is over, I believe that was like a dress rehearsal for the celestial Hanukkah that's coming on January the 13th. I believe we're going to see here at the very, very end of the year, the 30th and the 31st, we're going to see some big things begin to happen. And everybody needs to prep up and make sure that you are prepared for the worst because we may be here for possibly, I mean, we don't know. So be prepared for everything. Um, I'm getting a continued marriage signs all the way through January. And I don't know if we can uh, leave before we see the transition of these signs in Sagittarius constellation. So I'm going to present all of those things that I can find that are associated with the escape of the bride in the next one, number 14. But I'm going to be back before that. I'm going to do a Mazzaroth decoded to unlock all the codes from all these other asteroids because there a lot of asteroids that are in our timeline that are not associated with what I would consider the wedding signs. And so I'm going to bring that forward possibly today. Um, and that one is going to just be a Mazzaroth decoded, presenting all the other signs from now until the end of the year. So we're going to try to get that in either today or tomorrow. And I just want to thank everyone for coming. And we're at perfect timing. I wanted to try to get this in less than an hour. So much love, family. Please help spread this and give us a thumbs up and post comments in the comment section because that's the only way that I can get this out there. It seems that the last couple of videos we've been doing really well with that. So I'm going to ask you to all help us out here and let's keep looking up, family. It's the most important time that we have right now. We've got to keep our focus to the heavens, eyes to the skies. Much love.